Are live on Facebook. Good morning, everybody. It's Sacred Sunday with Love Coach Scott Catamas, and I have a wonderful guest. I'm really looking forward to getting to know her more fully. That's one of the great things that I love to do is invite people that I want to get to know this person more. And she's an incredible muse, and I'll tell you more about her in a little bit. But just a reminder that if you're watching this on Facebook, you can still come into our Zoom room, and I'll give that ID number in a moment. And the advantage to coming into the Zoom room is that it gives people a chance to, sometimes we even bring people on camera. At the very least, it's easier for us to see your questions, and that's kind of cool. So welcome, everybody. And because it is a Sacred Sunday show, I'm going to be starting us off with a very brief meditation. But then Johanna is going to lead us on a musical meditation. How cool is that? And that's actually perfect because what first inspired me to want to bring her onto the show is that she's put together this amazing project, which is a very profound musical meditation. And we'll be talking about that. Anyway, here is the way you can come into the Zoom room if you want to. Either just go to my profile page, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see where I listed it. Or I'll give it to you right now. Okay. Our Zoom room is 999-658-42444. That's 999-658-42444. Or go to my Facebook page, scroll down about 2 or 3 stories, and you'll see a beautiful poster of Johanna OneHeart and myself, and you'll see the link there. And I do want to welcome the people that are in our Zoom room. Welcome so much. Happy to have you with us, Doug and Lorna and Deborah. And so now I just want to invite everybody to slow down even more. It's a Sunday. And let's just start with the breath. And ideally closing our eyes and consciously breathing. And so much of this weekend, the last few days, has been dedicated to coming into the new year. And a reminder that this is a great time to manifest, to visualize. And when we breathe, take space between your inhale and your exhale. Human breath represents the nature of consciousness, and the nature of all consciousness is to expand and to contract, to live and to die. The space in between is the infinite void in which all things are possible. It's the infinite void that is nothing and everything. And we can taste that infinite void if we really take time in between the inhale and the exhale. Get a little taste of the infinite void where all possibilities exist. And so now I invite us to really slow down even more and notice, how is our body informing us? What does our body have to say? Are there little aches and pains that need some love? How are you doing emotionally? What are your feelings? How well resourced are you? Have you had enough food? Enough water? Enough rest? So taking an inventory of your body and appreciating and acknowledging there's no right or wrong, good or bad. It's just our bodies informing us. Learning to listen to the wisdom of our bodies and how our bodies inform us is a very important part of life that often gets lost in the distractions and the devices. I'm now going to shift from the focus being on me to the focus being on this amazing guest that we're blessed to have with us. You are looking at Johanna OneHeart, also known as Johanna Beekman. She is an amazing force of nature. Look at those eyes. She has such an incredible voice, and she uses her voice to awaken our hearts. I guess to awaken the one heart. So welcome, Johanna, and I'm turning it over to you to lead our musical meditation, and then we'll have a wonderful conversation.
Thank you, Scott. I'm so happy to be here with you on Sacred Sundays. Coco's saying hello, my little musical meditating dog.
Love it. I've got my two right here.
So let's just take a breath in. She's just breathing when she barks, right? She's just resetting her nervous system. So let's take a moment, take a deep breath in, just like Scott was having us do, and reset. And know that that light can travel in through the breath, and anything that is not serving your highest good, your light, can exhale with the breath. This is a song called The Light Inside. You are the sun, you are the moon, you are the universe inside when you come home to you. You are the light inside. You can't help but shine through the darkness. You are divine. Though there is darkness, there is light. Though you are human, you are divine. Though there are shadows inside, every breath breathe in light. Every breath you breathe in light. Every breath you breathe in light. Pavana, 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 para, pavan guru, pavan guru, waheguru, waheguru, pavan guru. Pavana, 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 para, para, pavan guru, pavan guru, waheguru, waheguru, pavan guru. Breath is your guide, is your sage, is your knowledge. Breath, breathe in light. Breath is your guide, is your sage, is your knowledge. Breath, breathe in light. Taking a deep breath in and connecting with that child within, that pure energy that's always within. And exhaling again any anything that's not serving that purity, that good, this new you of the new year. Taking a moment to take reflection on the last year and breathe in the new energy of 2021. Exhaling all of 2020, all of your history and purity can come back in with your breath, connecting with that inner child. Though you are human, you are divine. This is the year for your divinity. Breathe that in. Though you are human, you are divine. If you'd like to, you can inhale for your count of 4, holding at the top for your count of 4, and exhaling for your count of 8. This is a chant in Gurmukhi, the language of the Sikh tradition, to the breath, Pavan Guru. Inhaling your count of 4, holding, and exhaling for 8. Holding at the bottom for 4. And then coming back through with the same cycle. Breath is your guide, is your sage, is your knowledge. Breath, breathe in light. This heart is open wide, and the whole universe lives inside. This heart is open wide, and the whole universe lives inside. This heart is open, heart is open wide. So breathe, breathe, just breathe, breathe in light, just breathe. Spending a moment with that child, anything that child has to offer you, holding that child with that breath as your heart is hugged by your breath every time you inhale. And exhaling anything that's kept you from your highest purity, your highest good.
I can barely talk. You've taken me, us into such a beautiful, deep place.
Mm. That's a song that's been the thesis statement of a trademarked class I've taken across the country, and to help heal the inner and the outer self, letting go of weight in the mind, in the heart, and in the body through just relaxation. It's called Lullaby Yoga, and it's been an incredible journey for so many people back to their healthy body, spirit, self. And I'm grateful to say that I actually developed it when I was hit by a drunk driver, and the doctor said I would never practice yoga again. And I began to breathe and chant in restorative yoga poses, and my body, my mind, and my spirit got better. I had gained 40 pounds from being hit, not being able to move. It dropped off like water. My spirit was enlivened. And here I am sharing the practice with people like you. So that was a little musical journey aspect of a physical practice that any body can do to reset, renew, restore, and reintegrate with their purest self.
I did not know that part of your history. I know
Mm.
so little about your history. I was just know you as this amazing musician.
I thought it would be an interesting way to start, since you did want to know a little bit more about me, to tell you a little bit about the journey that brought me to who I am here to share the medicine of music with you.
Right. Well, tell us about your journey, and certainly so much of what you just shared with us was a beautiful practice,
Mm-hmm.
bring us back into remembrance. And in this world, we drop in to the illusion of separation, and
Yeah.
then there's so many distractions, and we get so lost in the ego mind. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and it's spiritual practice like yoga, lullaby yoga, which I just heard for the first time, that is so important so that we can remember who we truly are and
Yeah.
be in alignment with our divine self. So I'm going to put the full spotlight on you
Hmm.
and just want to ask you, yeah, share with us about your journey of going maybe from the illusion of separation into divine awakening, or your practices and how your spiritual practices have cultivated on a personal level
Hmm.
and then impacted others.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Scott. I'd be honored to share a little bit of my journey, because I know that separation is illusion and that no story is unique. At the end of the day, when I hear my sister or my brother's story of suffering, it may actually save me a little suffering in the long run. So I like to be transparent as possible about my humanness along with my divinity. And I know that you're a coach, Scott, and one of the things that I do with my vocal and coaching clients is finding and empowering that divine voice, that capital S spirit self that's always within, but awakening that and bringing it to the forefront, whether that's through song, through sound, through music, or through deep speaking meditation to work through things. Oh, excuse me. This modern world,
There,
apparently.
there it is. Our devices are like, but what about me? What about me?
But I'm not getting attention right now.
Right, exactly. You haven't picked me up for 3 minutes.
Right. But, and that's a great little, we were just talking about practice. So, what a great opportunity to say this is part of the practice, is that the device calls. Do I respond to the device immediately? Am I in a reactive state? Or am I able to take a breath, realize that that's a moment that happened, and that this next moment is where I am now?
I've just got to come in and tell a funny story about that. We had Reverend Michael on the Saturday Night Live show one time, and I've known him for a very long time, and I love Reverend Michael. And he's in like this really deep meditative place with us, and his Facebook Messenger goes off. Somebody is trying to reach him on Facebook Messenger, and Facebook Messenger is so hard to turn off. Once that thing starts going off, and it goes off on multiple devices, so it's going off on his computer that he's on with us, it's going off on his phone. I think it was going off on an iPad. And it was so wonderful to see the humanity of him going from, Reverend Michael, who's like in a totally exalted state, totally human being, frustrated,
Yeah.
and think, and that's who we are. We have this spiritual side, and we're so human. We are having a human experience.
Right. In the famous words of Ram Dass, who blessed me in the womb, actually before birth, which I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Um, we're all just walking each other home, right? We are all just in the human soup, and each next human may have a lifeline to help us walk without dropping into the sludge. you know? It's that we are able to, through our humanness, find the divinity, find the answer, find the way, find the spirit self. Um, so yeah, it's a really beautiful practice to know that I am human, and so I was blessed a little bit. You wanted to tell me a little bit of, you wanted me to tell you a little bit of my story. I was
Yeah,
blessed.
absolutely.
I was blessed in the womb by Ram Dass, in I won't tell you what year. And my family grew up, moved from the Midwest to Oregon to raise their family a little bit different, not in the Bible Belt. And I grew up in the Unitarian Church, baptized Lutheran, I just realized recently, but never really spent time in a Judeo Christian type of a setting growing up. I had this belief, and this was kind of all around and within me, that love is my religion,
Mm,
and music and medicine through music is my religion. I was singing from the time I could speak.
wow.
So Ram Dass blessed my mother's belly before I was born, about a month before I was born. And I came through and I came out singing, like I said. And I wrote my first song when I was 9, and it was called Just a Little More Love. And I'll even give you a little snippet. It goes, just a little more love, that's all we need. Just a little more hope for the world to see. Just a little more love. And then I talked about the environment. Okay, so how many years is it later? We're still there, and it's the time for all of us to awaken to our love again, and to healing the environment through the vibration of that love. Um, so I went through a dark period in my teenage years, as we do, and I struggled with drug addiction. This is the first time I've actually shared this on, because I am quite young. You can look at me. I don't have white hair yet. I listened to my elders, Krishna Das, who I learned chanting from as a teenage songwriter, and talk about their struggles with these kinds of things. I got sober when I was 23 years old. I spent my 23rd birthday in treatment, and it was the best birthday present I ever had. I found myself. I found my divinity in a way that I hadn't found before, and my music shifted. And my music, I have 6, 7 albums, but only 4 of them are out there for you guys to find, because the rest are collector's items of my journey from darkness into light. Though you are human, you are divine. That song that I just sang to you is a prayer to the childhood self, a prayer to the divine self, a prayer to the breath to wake up the divine self. And so I quit music. I'd been touring in regular areas where alcohol was in my 20s, and I was totally sober. And I was getting closer to spirit while I sang. And I watched people getting further away because they were ingesting poison in my mind. And so I quit music. I became a yoga teacher. I studied in a really powerful practice, power vinyasa, and then I went through a few other trainings right away. I was all fired up, and this is my new life. And I'd always been a spiritual human being on this, on this earth plane, and I found, wow, my dharma. If you know anything about Eastern thought, dharma is like your calling, your the thing that you have no choice but to do. It's like the path that rolls out in front of you, and there are other paths, but your feet keep moving, right? And so my dharma of bhakti yoga awoke, and I remembered the chanting from these teachers that I just mentioned. For those who don't know, Krishna Das and Ram Dass brought kirtan and mantra music to the West in the 1970s. And these mantras are sound vibration, and they are sounds that are not English. They are vibrational languages which awaken a feeling within the cellular structure of connectedness with every living thing because it's vibratory, like the vibration of a specific thing, the vibration of my body here, the chair that I'm sitting in. So we're connecting with the universe through sound. It's much less tangible than singing a love song of heartache for someone in the West, yet it's much more beneficial if you can think about the power of sound.
Absolutely.
So, so, I really felt the need to take English out of my music for a while. And I developed lullaby yoga, but because I was teaching regular yoga, I was developing mantra music and really dropping into kirtan and awakening to that through the yoga. And I got hit by a drunk driver. What am I going to do? Everything is halted. I am alone in a dark room with a migraine for 9 months, chanting internally. And I remember learning from Jayutal, another mantra artist, hearing that he started through the back door of transcendental meditation, which I was actually trained in at 23 years old also. So, transcendental meditation, for those of you who don't know, is a mantra practice that happens within, and it happens for 20 minutes a day in the morning and at night. And your teacher, my teacher, Josie Patorsky in Los Angeles, brought it to me, gifted it to me during this time, and very young. And it started a subscript that was helpful for me during my awakening. And then those mantras got louder and louder, and I found all of these other mantras, excuse me, um, there's notifications for some reason are still on my computer. I apologize. New world.
They're,
So these
it's just
mantras.
the angels, like, it's just the angels saying, yes, yes, yes.
Right. Woohoo! That was the thing I was
Every
supposed
time we hear a ding, it's just an angel saying, yes, you go, girl, you go.
to. So mantra just totally took over my life, and because singing was something I could do very, very quietly, but these mantras went into my cellular structure and started. I really felt my body opening because I'm just breathing. Breathing or pranayama is something that happens when we are singing. That's part of the benefit of group singing is that we are tuning into a vibration that's greater than us, and we're able to drop into ourselves, which is no separate from any other human being or any other thing in the universe, really. So if I think I'm unique and I'm in my suffering and I'm like, oh, poor me, poor me, poor me, there's no way to be there if you're in unity with all living things. So I began to have an external mantra practice, which is a little different than the mantra that I was talking about. And here we are. I developed an album, and people had to have a little bit more lullaby yoga. And I had these invitations, Dharma Path, to share the medicine in the world. And they haven't stopped. And so here we are, Scott, with a beautiful opportunity to share that story. And I'm better than I ever was before any of this. And it's all a journey of self to self.
Yeah. So you managed very real physical suffering, which
Hmm.
probably included emotional and spiritual suffering, especially during the time that you were, after being hit by the drunk driver.
Yeah.
How could somebody watching this, and I can imagine there's somebody watching this right now going, okay, well, she did it, but I'm suffering. How do I do it?
Right.
What?
Just like that. Letting go of control. I was in my 20s still when this happened to me, and I felt like a 90-year-old woman. I could not stand up. Still, some days when my practice is out the window, I can't stand up straight. But the practice has gotten me to the point that I am able to do more than I ever could on other planes. So if we're going through it and we're in the despair and we believe there's nothing we can do to get out of this hole and oh, this body isn't working for me, it's the attachment to that body working that's keeping it from us, is what I experienced. Is that when I had shooting neurological pains down my arms, my back, all my legs, and I would cry, but then I would take a breath and I would think, this suffering is only momentary. Any suffering is only 90 seconds of like actually crying and letting go of something. And then we're just story fondling. And so I use some tools, like I've been trained in the work of Byron Katie as a facilitator coach of loving what is, knowing that whatever is happening in this moment is because the universe is gifting us an opportunity for growth. And so I've been through enough suffering in my life that I know that even in that moment when I thought it would never end, it did end. And the amount of gifts that ultimately my body and spirit vessel was given through the body work, through the meditation, through the sound practice, through all of these things that were necessary for my healing, I was able to be at peace with the fact that my body wasn't working until it worked again. And like giving, like this last year is a great example. We all just got kind of stopped in our tracks, right? And we all want to fight. You know, the human nature, the human spirit would be like, this isn't fair. Why am I stuck at home? Why I'm a victim, right? Or what I've noticed in my life and my practice during this time is, what an incredible gift. I became a producer. I have these famous producers I've been working with for years, Ben Leinbach, Hans Christian, who have created this amazing meditation music that has changed the planet. They've helped me to become a producer and help other musicians get their music out there, help my spirit show exactly what my music wants to be rather than needing someone else to propel that creation. Like it's all within. So there's an empowering state that we could be in during this time, this gift that we've been given of lots of uncertainty and lots of fear if we're watching the news, but lots of breath if we aren't, right?
I'm loving so much what you're sharing. Just a couple of quick riffs on it.
Yeah.
Um, Last night, Carolyn Casey was on the show, and she had a wonderful line. When we let go of certainty, we open the door to mystery. And
Mm,
that's a little,
I
that's
love that.
what you were just saying.
Yeah.
And, we both have a relationship with Ram Dass. Ram Dass was a very important part of my life. And I had the good fortune to create a camp with him and knew him personally and hung out with him a fair amount. And Marianne, and then after the stroke in Maui.
Mm.
And of course, as many of us know, when he was stroked, he called it Fierce Grace. There was even a documentary made called Fierce Grace.
Yeah.
And when I had Krishna Das on the show, we were talking about COVID and is this, kind of an example of fierce grace? And Krishna Das reminded me that the grace is that we actually have the grace to manage
Mm-hmm.
whatever comes in. That's the grace.
Yeah.
Okay? And I do believe that this pandemic is a relatively gentle way of slowing us down, because clearly humankind had to slow down. I mean, we were heading straight for the cliff.
Yeah.
And it is important for us to have empathy
Mm-hmm.
and compassion for the people that are sick, the people who have lost loved ones, um, those who have lost their jobs. I mean, there is suffering, and it's
Yes.
important to have compassion for the suffering, while also, in one foot firmly in compassion and one foot firmly in seeing the bigger picture or trusting the bigger picture of it all. Yeah. So all that is a lead up to my next question to you. And that is, you talked a little bit briefly about how you didn't do English for a while. And so tell us about, for those of us who don't really understand about the power of Sanskrit, the power of certain sound as a healing modality. And that might be a good lead in even to talking more about, the mantra project. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so all sound is vibration. When in every tradition that I can think of, there was a sound in the beginning, right? In the beginning, there was a sound, and then there was creation, and then we were all here, right? And so it all comes back to this sound. Our bodies are made of how much water? It's 80%, 60%. I can't remember right now. Oh, you're muted, Scott. I know that you have the answer. It's a really easy answer.
It's about 67%, which
67.
is and it's the exact same percentage of water that's on the planet. Like,
That's exactly what I was going for. Thank you, Scott. So, in these sound healing instruments that I was working with here, we're working with the water in our bodies, and it is actually the sound is connecting with the water in our bodies and creating ripples. And those ripples are creating balance. And so when we sound a sound like the primordial sound of Om, which most people have heard, OM, or AUM, if we're Aum, would be how it's pronounced in Sanskrit, the sacred language of yoga in India and Eastern tradition. Also, Hebrew is another vibrational language. So there are a few vibrational languages that are sacred languages of sound that vibrate like an instrument, like one of these singing bowls from Nepal. Om. And as I sing the sound of Om, I'm feeling the vibration through all chakras or all 7 energy channels through my body. And there's a lot happening in this area, right? To reintegrate and rebalance the system. And my voice, the vibration of my voice and the singing bowl are connecting then with the heartbeat of the universe, that vibration of the earth, the vibration of, and there's literally an earth heartbeat happening, right? The vibration of the trees, of the breath of the trees. It's all able to interact. This sounds very metaphysical and out there, but that's actually scientific studies around sound meditation and the healing qualities of sound. So I'm not an expert by any means, but as a singer and as a yoga practitioner, the sound has reset so many people that I've worked with that I absolutely believe that this medicine is working. It works within me, it works within you. It's just a matter of sitting down. I actually sell a lot of these sound healing instruments on my website. I believe in them so much. And I give back to kids in Nepal's education through Matrada Nepal Foundation, which we can talk a little bit about that. It does weave into the mantra Sangha project that I just put together, featuring 24 bhakti artists who believe in sound meditation through Sanskrit prayer. These Sanskrit language prayers, prayer is a tricky word for some, but Sanskrit language mantras, like we know in English that sometimes people are like, I have an affirmation or a mantra. I am love. I am whole. I want peace. These are all mantras, but they're just in English, but they aren't in a vibrational language the universe can hear specifically, right? But they help us on a mental level. Sadhguru talks about mantra and talks about sound as when we make a word in English about something, it takes us out of the feeling of it. We are in our left brain, we're in our mind, and we're in a psychological unpacking of what that word means rather than an experience of the vibration of what that word actually can do for us.
You just helped me to understand something that I've been aware of, but now I understand it. And that is, I've always enjoyed Yiddish words because they sound like their meaning, right? A
Right.
schlemiel, for example, or a schmuck, right? And you hear those words and it totally, you get the feeling of what the word means, but I never knew that Hebrew was a language based on sound in that way.
Yeah.
So, and I've
So,
always loved Yiddish words. So,
yeah. Yeah, that's a really beautiful connection that you made there. It's true.
yeah, thank you for that.
And I'm actually, it brings me, I didn't mean to bring up this, but on the 22nd of January, I'm actually coming out with a single with artist Mikey Pauker, who has grown up with uh, Jewish chanting practice and was studying to be a rabbi. And we wrote this song last year called Help Us Love. And it's a translation and Hebrew chant
Wow.
on love your neighbor as yourself, which is also found in Leviticus. So there's, there's a lot of these Hebrew words and prayers were then taken and put in the New Testament, right? And so these are more ancient than a lot of what we're even thinking of in the West when we think of biblical stories. There's a lot of reference points that happen earlier and through vibrational languages. It's very interesting.
Is Mikey okay? I heard that he
Mikey
was,
did have an accident and
yeah,
he,
yeah, he was on the show a long time ago, one
yeah,
of our early shows. He was going to be on again and he had an accident. He's okay.
yes, by the grace of God, he is able to play guitar again. And I actually sent him a lot of healing and kind of self-care tips because I've been through a very similar experience during his healing process. So I feel really grateful that we had already written this song called Help Us Love, and then I'm helping him love himself and heal. So January 22nd, you can tune in. We're going to be having a live release for that. And
Oh. And how
I
do we find it? How do we find that information?
it's going to be on johannasings.com, johannasings.com. It'll be on Spotify. We'll have a pre-save list where we have a lyric music video that we're launching, and he'll be on my show, One Heart TV, on in mid January. I think it's January 16th. It's on Tuesday at noon Pacific Standard Time. I'll also be having Krishna Das on this.
Oh, okay. So holding on, there's so much going on here. I'm going to go briefly to your website.
Thank you.
Here we are. There's a lot going on here. And well, there's Lullaby Yoga
Yes,
online Thursdays at noon. So
it is.
that's something that people can join you online for.
Yep. Through Nam Yoga, Los Angeles, LA, and New York, and also on Spirituality Gone Wild, there will be a product coming out there. And also, you can sign up for my Patreon for more backlog of beautiful offerings of music and meditation. And Mantra Soul is now available. This is a beautiful Sanskrit English weaving of the Gospel of the East and the Gospel of the West. And it's a brand new album. And
What time on the 22nd is your event going to be?
I believe it's at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. There is our One Heart TV, One Heart Coaching, new student 20-minute session for free. Come just check out, talk to me. I can't really tell you what time exactly right now because I am talking to you and not looking at my calendar. But, but
Let's talk offline about, because I'd love to stream it out over our broadcast partners also.
I'd be honored for you to support the release of that. I'm
Yeah.
also tuning into a One Heart Festival coming up in February with some artists. So maybe we can talk about how we can get
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's do that. Let's do that. All right. So I'm gonna kind of swing this over to Mantra Sangha.
that. Yeah.
Um, and that's a big, that's originally what I really wanted to make sure we talked about. So I'm going to go there. And so you've created this incredible album, and we're going to talk about the album, but it's also a fundraiser. So everybody, there's a GoFundMe, and if you just go to GoFundMe and put in Mantra, Soul, and Spirit, that'll probably pop up. Probably also if you put in Johanna Beekman, it would pop up. And so I'm going to donate right now to this GoFundMe. Oh, donations are paused.
I better fix that on Monday, everybody. Tune back in on that.
Yeah, okay. But so on Monday, go back and donate. So tell us about the Mantra Soul project and who's
Yeah.
benefiting from this. Tell us about this.
Okay, so Mantra Soul is the album. It was a two-album project. Mantra Soul is the Gospel of the East meets the Gospel of the West. Spirit Song Soul is me coming back to mantra music in English. We were just talking about all of the benefits of Sanskrit. However, we are in America. I am a chameleon. I'm a bridge builder. I think I've helped some people to discover mantra in my journey of yoga, which is part of really what I wanted to do was make it accessible in the West. However, people listen to mantras in English, right? So I have a new album coming out in English, and I also have an album that's coming out of meditation and yoga music with my producer Ben Leinbach in 2021, where you can just tune in and it will be ethereal soundscapes for our meditative practices, whatever they are. Mantra Soul has all English, uplifting, positive vibrations, songs that I have been holding on to while I've been doing all of this Sanskrit because girls gotta sing and a girl's gotta write still, and I got a lot to say. So that's really exciting. I've been on that album for 4 or 5 years. I've just been slowly gathering material and it's getting close. So you can help us finish it up. And it's such a great time to be singing in English is great too because we have a psychological experience of what's happening in our nervous system. It's a catch 22. We've got like, yeah, it's great to do mantra, but it's also great to do English because we know what we're doing. So I want to do all of it and you can be a part of that. And that's what that's about. Mantra Sangha Health and Healing official music video wasn't something I was meaning to record. The little background on that is pandemic hit. I'm on tour in Los Angeles. I'm with the Festival of Colors. Giving free hugs. We're on stage. I am body surfing because that's the kind of vibe that's happening at that festival. It's a Krishna festival. That's a festival where you throw chalk colors up in the air, and so it's half kids and really fun, high vibes, DJs, all of that. And we're doing mantra music that's really accessible in the West. Anyway, so we're there. We're in Los Angeles. We're totally not realizing COVID's happening, giving free hugs. I have my booth and I'm donating to the kids in Nepal and selling merchandise, giving money and getting money. And it's just weird, if you know what's going on. And, so I go to this cabin that my friend who hired me to sing on his album, Michael J. Downey, had an album called Awakening 4 or 5 years ago. He built a cabin that is off grid in the Sierra Nevada mountains, and he'd been asking if I would stay there. It's just sitting vacant, and he just is building it, right? And so I go and I stay there, and I discover this mantra to remove all disease and rebalance the earth during increased times of negativity. I'm learning more about coronavirus as this is happening, and I'm all alone at this beautiful spot with hot springs and birds chirping and inspiration to go deep in the healing and in the practice. And this is a new mantra that I hadn't heard, so I was really excited about it because I've been doing mantra for a lot of years. And it's from Sri Shakti Amma in India, and I find this beautiful version of Sri Shakti Amma singing it with their really beautiful deep Indian voice, Om Krim Mahakali, you'll hear it. And my heart opened, and I had this, I get kriyas, I get these, which is like a feeling in your body that's almost like a shiver, but it moves, right? So you're kind of shake. So I had this feeling of this shiver that moved through my body as I started to chant this mantra, and a melody came straight through, and I started to see my friends and my teachers from around the world singing this mantra to heal the world during this time of increased negativity and disease. And that's Krishna Das, Gina Salah, Garish. I started to reach out to people after this 40-day sadhana practice. So 40 days of sadhana practice is, it's interesting. 40 is an interesting number. It's Noah's Ark, 40 days, 40 nights. And then we go over to the East and we do 40 days of a mala mantra practice in order to get a mantra into our systems and have it reset us. So that's what I did.
Lent 40 days?
Huh?
Isn't
What?
Lent 40 days? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, all of this isn't really doesn't feel accidental, right, Scott, when we start to
Yeah.
put the pieces together. Um,
But
but
it's almost like there's this cosmic dream. And
yeah,
every now and then there's little things that remind us it's all this incredible cosmic dream.
yeah,
There's one dreamer but we're all like little bits of that dream. We're a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream,
yeah.
right?
Amen.
I think I've got the right website to pull up as we're talking about Mantra Sangha.
And
Is
yeah,
this the
and
right
a
one?
fundraiser was the other thing to help kids in Nepal.
Right.
So I
So should we go back to the fundraiser?
no, 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 no. That's a different fundraiser for my album. That's not helping kids in Nepal. That's helping me, the music. Johanna
Well, we
One.
want to do that too.
But Mantra Sangha, the whole concept was that all of these artists, Cindy, you're welcome. Are you going to play the music video for people?
Yeah, yeah. Which
Yeah.
should the top one here?
Yeah, so all of these artists donated their time to help through matradanepal.org help kids in Nepal survive during COVID because it's hit really hard and you can hear about the story as we watch the music video.
All right, here we go.
Thank you.
ॐ क्रीं महाकाली सर्वरोगं नसी नसी 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 ॐ क्रीं महाकाली सर्वरोगं नसी नसी
Matrada.org if you want to help the kids at Matrada Nepal Foundation. Right now, they're working actually at just survival, getting them food, getting them books. It's been a really hard lockdown this year, and I'm so grateful to be able to help during such difficult times. So if you want to just donate directly to them, you're welcome to. If you would like to buy Mantra Sangha official music, the audio, it's available at Bandcamp, on johannasings.com, on CD Baby, on iTunes, on Spotify. Add it to your playlist. Help get the message out there. It's time. Share the music video on your Facebook. Share the music video in a group where people are doing spiritual practices. Help people to understand how we can find this rebalancing during this time. Thank you so much, Scott, for highlighting that. It's really
Yeah.
important.
No, and I definitely want us to incorporate this. You know, we're looking at what our fundraising events are going to be for the new season of Saturday Night Alive.
Yeah.
January's already filled up. We've got all of our nonprofits set.
Mhm.
You know, a thought that came to my mind, we'll talk about it off camera, but just quickly. We're doing a show on February 27th on optimizing health.
Mhm.
And I would love for you to be a musical presence on that one, but also to share your story
Hmm.
about how you healed yourself and the relationship of sound and healing. And then maybe that particular show, we can make that the show where we show this video and make it the fundraiser.
Mhm.
So we'll
Yeah,
talk off
what date
camera
was
about
that?
it. February 27th.
Yeah, I think I'm available. We
Yeah.
talked about it February 23rd, all about love on Saturday night.
February 13th. February 13th.
Oh, excuse me. All of these numbers. We'll talk offline. Hey, stay tuned. Scott and I love each other. We're going to be talking a lot. It'll be great. Right?
Absolutely. Isn't it amazing how many people we meet and love that we've never met now, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
right?
it's incredible. And every now and then, you know, I'll meet like a client that I've been working with for years. And, you know, my clients, I'm like, you know, I know everything about them and I'm like their closest friend and all that kind of thing. And then when we realize, oh my God, this is the first time we're actually physically in the same space, you know?
Yeah.
But there is something, you know, we talked about this before we came on camera very briefly about the different forms of love.
Mm-hmm.
And have you noticed, now I'm much older than you are, but when I was in my 20s, it was all about everybody was looking for their soulmate. Everybody was looking for their twin flame.
Mm-hmm.
And now everyone's looking for their tribe, their community. I think it's like this shift from looking for that one person to looking for my community, my tribe, you know, and the tribe is big, you know, it's big. And
Yeah.
we're finding ourselves digitally, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I find it to be very interesting because I had created this tribe all over the world and country over the last 5, 10 years.
As evidenced in this amazing video. I mean,
Right.
I was getting chills seeing all the different places that those people had come together. I mean, that was like, I got chills
I'm getting
watching
it
that.
right now, actually. It's kind of one of those disbelief dharma moments, where I had this thought, I had this idea, and suddenly it just came to fruition. Suddenly, my producer's calling me on Sunday and helping me figure out how to start recording, when he has a family, because we all feel like this thing needs to happen,
Yeah.
for the world to awaken. So I just so appreciate the support from people like you who believe that there are messages that really can awaken the world during the darkest time just before the sunlight comes again. It's the coldest moment of the winter right now. We're all just kind of holding on. And so I'm
Yeah.
grateful to give a positive message during this time.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. And it's, wow, there's so much, and we're already at 11:06. So where do we go next?
So, speaking of positive messages
Mhm.
and mantras in English, how about we share a song from the brand new album that I am working on, not yet to be released, all in English, called Mantra Soul, Spirit Song Soul, that we pulled up the GoFundMe for.
Okay.
Early.
Do I find it here or do I find it on the GoFundMe?
No, I'm actually going to play it live with my friend Valerie Romanoff.
Oh my God.
Who is
Really?
in the Zoom chat right now, I believe. Valerie, are you here? Participants. She should be in here.
Um,
Not. it?
She's not with us.
Oh, she's supposed to be in here right now. Maybe she got the wrong Zoom link. Well, in that case, oh yeah, she's Doug today. Just kidding.
Oh, she's Doug.
She's
All
Doug
right.
today.
All right, I'm promoting her.
So, while you figure that out, I'm going to.
Here she is.
Oh, okay, great. So This is a song that I wrote out in New York. Speaking of friends all over the world. Hi, Valerie. How are you today?
Well, right away, I'm going to change the name there.
Yeah.
So, Valerie, it's so good to see you again.
Oh, you're muted.
So good to see you too. Thank you. I love the show. I'm loving being here. Johanna, I love what you're talking about.
Oh my God. Did you get chills watching that video?
Oh, every time I just sing along and I go, it's just so heartfelt and you could just feel it opening. And Scott, to your point, just seeing everybody around the world and seeing people coming together and chanting the mantra puts you in that vibration. So everybody is emitting the same vibration and bringing us all closer together and showering that out into the field of the world. It's beautiful. I love that project, Johanna.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Valerie, and we've had Valerie on Saturday Night Alive, and she rocks her blue guitar. Look at you. You look gorgeous. All right.
Thank you.
Wow. How blessed I am to be with two incredibly beautifully talented, amazing women on a Sunday morning. I feel very blessed.
Well, what a blessing that we get to come together wherever we are. Valerie and I had to get off a plane to go write the song originally. So what a blessing that we're able to perform it virtually live today, right before. We're going to release this as a single coming up probably in a couple of months here. We're just getting it together because we love this song. It's all about manifesting our reality and creating our reality and believing
That's the perfect song for right now. I mean, it's the new year and we're all really focusing on, okay, what are we going to manifest this year?
Yeah. So as we manifest the new year, we can tune into that we have power to choose our thoughts. And Valerie and I were speaking about this a little bit. Valerie, would you like to say anything before we just go at it?
Sure, I would like to say that because you and I share so many concepts about not only about music and music and medicine and vibe, but about creating our reality. And it's just becoming more and more widespread and mainstream that our thoughts, the things we say, the things we think, actually emit a vibration that attracts more of that to us. And so you and I were chatting, about love and, a lot of human circumstances. And we were saying, we daydream our reality into being. And we looked at each other and said, that's a song. And we just ran right into the recording studio and said, let's go. And we've been working on it. We worked on it together here in New York. And then we've been working remotely on other songs as well. And it's been super fun. I'm in New York, you're in Oregon. And we just been making it happen, having a lot of fun.
What a blessing we get to do that from afar. So let's share this song, and then we'll share another lyric music video from the new album, and it's called Heartbeats One, Universal. Feel the heartbeat, Scott. If you'd like to share that as we.
Absolutely, fantastic.
All right, sounds great. Here we go. Are you ready? It's a new year. Day. Let's feel the new grace as it falls upon our faces. I don't know. I just make some stuff.
You just made that up.
I did. I'm not that incredible all the time. You win some, you lose some. But this one is the one. Let's do it. Our reality. We daydream our reality into existence. So be in possibility. Believe that we are free to choose our reality. We daydream our reality into existence. So be in positivity. Be the time, here's the place. I see my life, remembering my grace. Yes, now is the time. Here is the place. I live my life, remembering my grace. Oh yeah. Now is the time. Here is the place. I'll live my life, remembering my grace. Spotlight Valerie's. Ooh. Oh. Oh, yeah. Remembering my grace. Yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Remembering my grace, yeah.
Oh, that was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Whoops, excuse me. You'll just have to buy the album to get that beautiful vibe. Actually, Val's working on a remix of that song Om Shanti right now. Thank you so much, Scott.
Yeah, there was a question that came in one of our Facebook pages, and I'm going to address it first, and then I'd love for both of you to address it. And again, that I love that song. I've heard the song before on Saturday Night Live, but God, hearing Val adding her guitar is amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you. The question was, if thoughts create our, let me get it right. If thoughts create our reality, why am I so stuck on not being able to let go of my pain? And that's such a vulnerable question. So thank you, Nikki, for writing that. It's a really vulnerable, and it's again, like earlier Johanna said, when we have compassion for one person's suffering, it can help to alleviate all of our suffering. It's like, oh wow, the suffering you're having, if we can acknowledge it, then somebody else doesn't need to have that experience, right? I'm going to tell a brief story that is connected to this in a moment. You'll see the connection. The Dalai Lama allowed brain researchers to hook up electrodes to his brain, and they did about 90 minutes of research studying how his brain operated. And the extraordinary thing that they found was that at all times, his synapses were entirely firing in the frontal lobe. Now, this is important to understand that the frontal lobe of the forebrain is where the empathy center of the brain is and the observer part of the brain is. The back part of the brain is where we call it the reptile brain is. It's the oldest part of our body. When a child is conceived, in the first 24 hours, the reptile brain is what forms, and the entire body is built around the reptile brain. And the reptile brain only has one function, which is to survive, right? So when our reptile brain takes over, we're in survival, and all we can do is fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. We've probably all heard that before. Now, the thing about the Dalai Lama is they were fascinated by this, so they kept challenging him and making it harder and harder to imagine being able to stay in the frontal lobe. Until finally, they were showing him photographs of Chinese soldiers burning down a Tibetan temple. And as he looked at the photographs, he wept. He didn't stuff his emotions. He wasn't being stoic. He wept. But the synapses are still firing here. Final attempt that they made to shake him up, if you will, was that, how do you feel? What are your thoughts about Chinese soldiers raping Tibetan women, murdering Tibetan people? And he wept again. And he was silent for a very long time. But again, synapses entirely firing in the frontal lobe. And finally, he said, it reminds me that I must pray equally for the Chinese as I do for my Tibetan people. And that's the answer that comes to my mind when I read about that, Nikki. There is suffering. There is suffering. And we do have our pain. But something Johanna had said a little bit earlier is that if we can learn how to discipline our thoughts and to mourn from empathy for ourself, as opposed to re-stimulating our pain over and over and over. Remember when she said pain actually lasts for 90 seconds, right? After that, it becomes a story that we're repeating over and over. So the pain is real. We have to have empathy. We can't just do some new age bullshit of, oh, well, it's not real. No, it is. Pain freaking hurts. And we have to have compassion for the pain. And we need to feel the pain, but through empathy for the pain, compassion for it, and move it. And then notice, am I re-stimulating? Am I stuck in my reptile brain and I'm repeating the story over and over, which is re-stimulating that pain over and over. So thank you for letting me come in, but I just really wanted to answer that question. And I'd love to hear what these two amazing beings have to say about all that.
Would you mind, Scott, repeating the question one more time so it's fresh in our ears as we
Yeah.
this? I think it's really important.
So it's about managing our thoughts.
Yeah.
And since I am supposed to be able to control my thoughts, how come I have so much anger and I can't get rid of my pain?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think the key might be managing my anger, and that the anger is connected to the pain. And I'm telling myself, I'm imagining it's connected to a story where there's a lack of resolution. And Nikki, if you want to add more, let us know and I'll respond. But I'm guessing that there's a story where there's a lack of resolution, which leads to the anger, which leads to the pain.
Yeah. Yeah. What I like to respond with is one of my teachers, Byron Katie. The work of Byron Katie, if you aren't familiar with it, it's very simple. So if we're suffering, we're believing a false thought. And if we're believing a false thought, we are creating our suffering, right? So if I ask this painful thought, I have a recent heartbreak myself, and I have my own painful thoughts that I'm suffering through. And transparency is a way to really connect with you and say that we're all in the human experience. And the first thing that I ask myself, and Valerie got a phone call really early the other day and gave me a free life coaching session on all this. So we're excited to hear from her as well. But oh, Coco, come on, we're talking about pain. Hang on.
Hey, Valerie.
Hi, sure. Well, maybe okay, if Johanna's ready.
Is it true? I was just going to ask 4 questions. So I'm believing false thoughts. First, I ask myself, is it true that I'm angry because this person doesn't listen to me, or whatever that thought that I'm believing that's creating the suffering? I think about that thought. I ask, is it true? And I meditate on that. Then I ask myself, if I came up as yes, is it absolutely true?
Mm-hmm.
And then often it can come up as a no the second time. Or it might still be a yes, in which case we're still asking, how do I react when I think that thought? Where does it hit me in my body? How do I treat other people? How do I treat myself with that compassion you were just talking about when I believe that thought? And let Coco take your thought away, right? Um, and then you turn the thought around. So is it true? Is it absolutely true? How do I react when I think that thought? Who would I be without that thought? So I'm hearing anger, right? Who would I be without this thought that's creating the anger, or this attachment to a story that's creating the anger? Who would I be without that thought? How would I move through the world? How would I treat myself differently? How would I treat the other human being differently that I'm feeling angry at?
You
And
know,
then turn the thought around. So you aren't listening to me. Oh my gosh, I'm not listening to me, and I'm creating anger in myself. Whew. Anyway, that's just one small example. So there's really simple tools that can turn anything around if we're open to it.
you know, I really want to riff for a quick second, and I want to hear from
Yeah.
Valerie. Who would I be without that thought is a really big part of it, because that's the secondary gain
Yes.
that keeps us stuck in the pain, because we've so identified ourselves as that, right?
Mm.
And there's an analogy that I use with my clients around that, which is, if you've got a painful thought that's become a story about who you are, I want you to imagine that it's a really scratchy sweater that somebody gave you, your mother or somebody gave it to you, and you had to put it on because they gave it to you as a gift. And it's kind of scratchy, but you get kind of used to it. And then you don't even want to take that scratchy sweater off because it's become, you're so familiar with it now. And if I take it off, I'll be naked, right? And we all have scratchy sweaters that we wear, which is based on a painful story of something happened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not lovable. I weigh too much. I'm too old. I'm this, I'm that. And these are all scratchy sweaters that actually we can take off, but just we kind of hold on to because it's become kind of familiar. And if I take it off, I'll be naked. I'll be vulnerable. Who will I be? You know, so I'm just going to stay in the familiar. And so it's an analogy to work with.
Who would you be? Oh, I was just going to say one of the taglines of this work is, who would you be without your story?
Exactly. Without the sweater.
And then that scratchy sweater, it's like this, wow, this is a really familiar neural pathway that's really painful, and man, but it does feel familiar, and I like familiarity because I feel at home in familiarity, but it feels painful, but man, I like my pain because I'm used to being in pain because I've had a really hard life. Anyway, we might go there. All of these things might happen. I'm going to shut up so Valerie can speak.
Okay, we're going to put this entire spotlight on Valerie. There you go.
Okay, well, first of all, I love everything that you both said, and I just want to say that I think, Johanna, we need to write a song called Scratchy Sweater, because I just think that is such a great analogy, and it's very catchy. And the things that I'm inspired to share are different ways of saying, you know, what you guys both said. But first of all, when it comes to the thinking, the energy of our thoughts and the energy of that liking attracting like, we think about what we want. We think about what we want to attract and what we want to be different in our life, and we put it out there, and the vibrations will come back to match that. But we don't realize that we're at the same time, we're thinking a lot about the thing we don't want. We're thinking about our pain. We're thinking about our lack. And we're thinking about our fear. And so we don't realize that in the middle of all this positive thinking, we're actually giving conflicting messages to the universe. And so on one hand, we're saying, I want to be free of my pain. I want to be free of my pain. And so we start to attract that. And then the next moment, we're saying, I'm in pain. I'm in pain. And so it's just another way of saying that we are focusing on it, and what we focus on. And very often the thing that we're upset about is louder, and it has a bigger vibration because we're tired of it, and so, that's a tool that I found just to remember that you could really be more mindful when you hear your mind doing that. You can actually stop that and say, oh, wait a minute, let me focus on this other thing. And then, of course, what you said is very, very true, which is we get very attached to our stories and we get attached, and it's almost like the pain we know is easier than a new pain, which would be what if we actually did let that go? You have to feel that. And if we feel it, that's very scary, to do anything different, because it's almost like we're in a holding on pattern and there's a little pain, but at least we know we're stable or we're alive. And so there's that. And the only other thing I wanted to say about that, in addition to all the things that you said, is that there's brain science and quantum physics and brain science that really shows that our body reacts to what we tell ourselves. That those little neuron pathways, they respond, and so we can talk ourselves very much into wellness or not wellness. But again, with that diet of what we think. So I'm agreeing with all of you, and I think it's a great question, and it's an everyday practice.
Yeah.
Never
And it's really easy to talk about it today, you guys, but I know I'm no expert. What about you? Would either of you claim that you're an expert at any of this?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
who are
You
we?
know, what we have that we're blessed with is we have tools.
Yes.
So we have the grace of the tools of Byron Katie, the tools of Marshall Rosenberg, the tools of the Dalai Lama. But it's up to us to use those tools. And that's what they are, the tools. We either use them or we don't.
Right.
Please write the Scratchy Sweater song. And if you do, we will premiere it on Saturday Night Alive. Okay?
I think that sounds like we're actually going into a songwriting session right after this. We'll see what
Please. Because it's one of my favorite things to share with people. And, honestly, I have clients that it really does work. There's something about the analogy that many clients have said, you know what? That damn scratchy sweater analogy, I'll find myself thinking, oh, I put my scratchy sweater back on. I took it off last week and I put it back on. So, yeah.
I love it. Well, I'm inspired to make a scratchy sweater song, but I keep thinking of like ugly Christmas sweaters, so I've got to get that out of my head. Something that's actually, something to grab onto. But, it's been so lovely to speak with both of you, two human beings, and Scott, to get to know you better and what you have to offer in the world. It's extraordinary to see how each human being takes these tools and is able to express them differently. I've been studying nonviolent communication. You just mentioned Marshall Rosenberg. Recently, I've been working on nonviolent communication and boundaries, and what powerful, powerful work that is. To be saying what Byron Katie would say about this is a no to you is a yes to myself, right?
Absolutely.
And so, we're in this technical, and I'm just going to apply it to my life right now, saying I have Zooms and phone calls and all of that all day long if I want to. And the other day it had been 9 hours and I hadn't been away from a screen, I realized, and I had a headache. And I said, no, I am not taking any more phone calls. I'm stepping away from the computer because that's a yes to myself, and myself needs me right now. Anyone else can wait.
Yeah, I spend way too much time in front of the computer too. Got it.
Yeah, it seems like a teachable lesson for most of us right now. That's why I
Thank
made
God
it.
for our dogs to say, and you know what's funny? My dog has learned when I finish a Zoom session, it's like he's right there, waiting for me in the bed. The moment we hang up, he'll get up and he'll know that I'm free, and he'll remind me, now's a good time to go for a walk. Now's a good time to play with me. Right? It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
we're trainable, aren't we?
We are trainable. Yeah. Boy, that's my good friend Jonathan Robinson, who's on the show last night, wrote a book called Conversations with Dog. And it's his dog giving him all the wisdom of the universe. And it's brilliant. It's really brilliant.
Well, they are the deepest teachers. I was just thinking about, you said we have tools. And what I wanted to say, the caution of all of this is spiritual bypassing. And I want to say that every tool is a weapon if you hold it wrong. So as we study all of these things and we get one little piece of nonviolent communication, or like, the work, it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, hey, well, I've learned all of this stuff, so I'm nonviolently communicating with you and you're wrong and I'm going to walk away and I have a boundary. It's like, it's like we could take
No, that's not it.
and take it all wrong if we're wearing our scratchy sweater.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for the reminder. All right, we need to wrap up because I've got a 12 noon session and I still need to eat. So, Valerie, tell me, because I'm going to do a couple of posts. Give me your website again so I can post it. Where do I?
Yes, ValerieRomanoffMusic.com.
Okay, yep, it comes right up because it's been on this computer before.
Yay.
You've been on the show. So let me now screen share because Valerie Romanoff rocks. She is so amazing. So I just want to encourage everybody to go to ValerieRomanoffMusic.com and look at all the things you've got going on there. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Anything you want to highlight, Valerie?
I would like to highlight that I do a show online called Groove into Bliss, musical meditation and more. And Johanna's been my guest many times, and we do music, meditation, talking about these tools, talking about living from the heart and how to use music as a tool to deepen your own practice and how important it is to spend a few minutes at least every day in stillness in whatever form or fashion. And for live events before this pandemic, I was performing with this band, my amazing Starlight Orchestra. It's a party band, and we travel all over the country playing for big, fabulous events. And it's an amazing group where every single person just brings all the love and light and positive energy. And 20 of us get up on stage together, and just it's dazzling.
Wow.
Starlight Orchestra.
And
And
Starlight, and what a beautiful group of people.
Scroll down a little bit too. There's like a lot of very cool. Everyone is just a character.
Oh my God!
So talented.
And I love that it's people of all colors and different ages.
Exactly. This has been my project for 30 years. It's we've just played. Of course, we haven't.
No, wait a minute. 30 years. So you started this when you were 6.
Yes. I've been
That's
doing
amazing. What a visionary you were as a child.
Amazing,
Half
right?
of the people weren't even born yet then.
Well, some of those people were not born yet, but I was. And it changes over the years, and some people are new, and some have been with me for 20 years, and that's really exciting. And now blending the healing music, the peaceful music, the meditation, because my albums are meditation music, but when I perform, it's a lot of.
Yeah, I only know rock and roll Valerie, so I'll have to get to know meditation Valerie.
Still Chill Thrill is what I call it. And you can read all about that on my website, Still Chill Thrill.
Still Chill Thrill.
All those kinds of music.
Valerie, what an extra bonus treat that I got to see you this morning and share all this. Thank you.
I figured I'd invite her since we were writing anyway, and you'd heard that song, so let's give it some background. So thanks for making a little space for my friend Valerie to co-create a moment on your show today.
Absolutely. And for Johanna, I'm going to go to johannasings.com. And this is where you can get all things Johanna Beekman OneHeart. Are you still offering voice sessions? Is that still happening?
Yeah, it's actually 20% off in the New Year, New You special. So you can actually shoot me right there. Oh, free 20-minute session on One Heart Coaching and 20% off in the new year on Free Your Soul's Voice. So I offer private vocal instruction, yoga instruction, and coaching to find our spirit self. And so you can info@johannasings.com, email me there at info@johannasings.com and connect and just let me know how you are and if I can serve you at all. All of the events that are happening somehow are not in the sidebar, but there are lots of things happening if you click on that events tab. And join me online, and I will see you soon.
And just for everybody, want to make sure you know how to spell it. It's Johanna, Johanna. So johannasings.com. And oh my gosh, look at you. You are one busy puppy. Wow.
Actually, I wanted to give a plug. I'm seeing G-Fest, Goddess Rising. That's happening January 22nd. Everybody of all genders, please celebrate the Divine Feminine with us January 22nd. It's an online event with myself and 30 other empowered females speaking, singing, and empowering the Divine Feminine in all of us. So that's going to be a really fun event coming up this month.
There it is, Goddess Rising. Yeah, we've promoted this before.
Yeah. I headlined at a festival, their event in October, and we're
Cool.
doing one again. And Ani DeFranco was there in support of one of the other instrumentalists, and she was one of my childhood musical icons. So it's
Yeah,
a
that's
fun
one
and
of the things.
modest rising year.
It's so cool how we're all coming together digitally and all getting to know each other and promoting and supporting each other's different shows and events and gatherings. And it has been really cool watching the community collaboration. Obviously, I call it the Global Peace Tribe, call it whatever you want to call it, but it's this amazing group of souls, and we're like the little butterfly cells finding each other. We're the imaginal cells finding each other in the dying caterpillar to create the butterfly of the new paradigm. And every single person is a value.
I feel really blessed to be a part of this transition as we awaken as a common entity, and that our humanity rises again, and all of this hate and disease will fall off because there ain't no place for it in this new world, Scott. Anyway, I'm going to let us finish this show.
All
Thank you.
right.
Bless you, both of you.
I am getting out my magic wand and blessing your songwriting session today.
Thank you.
Incredible, with special blessings for the Scratchy Sweater song.
We can do maybe like a little anthem for like a little. Do you want like what are they called? A jingle of the Scratchy Sweater song?
Yeah, absolutely. Something that gets stuck in somebody's head so that they realize, oh, damn, I'm doing the Scratchy Sweater thing again, right?
Pick up the Scratchy Sweater now.
That's what I love, songs as tools, songs as reminders and tools for ourselves. It's important.
Hang in there, anyone who's suffering. There's a light always, 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 even in the darkest hour. And the anger is only love in disguise.
Yeah, the pain we feel when we're angry at somebody is in direct proportion to the love that we're missing. Always, always. The more angry, the more hurt we are, the more I so miss the love that we've shared or that I want to have with others.
Aho.
Aho. Take care, everybody. I look forward to connecting with both of you again very soon.
All right. Bless you.